Monday, July 27th, 2026. Friday, federal judge just stripped custody from billionaire tech CEO Marcus Chen, $2.3 million, Singapore, 3 offshore accounts. According to emergency ruling filed at 6:23 p.m., systematic concealment of assets constitutes fraud upon this court. I've got the 67 pages. Page 41 shows wire transfers Chen testified under oath didn't exist. Here's what they're not covering. Page 52. Chen moved the money 4 hours after his attorney received discovery request about overseas accounts. That's the court filing. Not speculation, but that's not the worst part. The forensic accountant's report buried in Exhibit K shows a second set of transfers totaling $4.1 million to accounts in Chen's mother's name that weren't disclosed in any filing. Wednesday at 9 a.m., contempt hearing, possible criminal referral. Let me show you. Quick context. Marcus Chen, founder and CEO of NeuralPath, AI company valued at $8 billion, married 14 years, 2 children. The issue, high-stakes divorce case where Chen claimed net worth of $47 million, while his wife's attorneys claim it's closer to $400 million. Timeline fast, 18 months ago. Divorce filed, Chen claims limited assets. 6 months ago. Wife's forensic accountant discovers Singapore accounts. Friday, Judge Morrison terminates Chen's custody, orders asset freeze, refers case to U.S. attorney. That's the setup. Now, what's in Judge Morrison's emergency ruling that business press missed? The emergency ruling, page 41. 3 wire transfers on March 14th, 2026, totaling $2.3 million from Chen's business account to Singapore-based Meridian Holdings. Direct quote, defendant testified March 10th that no overseas transfers occurred in 2026. That's perjury. Page 44. Email timestamp shows Chen's attorney received discovery request about international accounts March 14th at 10:47 a.m. Wire transfer initiated March 14 at 2:23 p.m. Connects to the first finding. Gets discovery request at 10 a.m. Moves money at 2 p.m. 4-hour gap. Gets worse. Page 52. Forensic analysis reveals Chen created Meridian Holdings on March 12th, 2 days before discovery request, 8 days before he was supposed to disclose it. Numbers. 3 accounts, $2.3 million transferred. 0 disclosure and mandatory financial statements filed March 18th. 3 findings. Same pattern, creates shell company in Singapore, transfers money hours after discovery request, files financial disclosure 6 days later with no mention, all documented, pages 41 to 52. But wait, Exhibit K contains forensic accountant Jennifer Rodriguez's supplemental report filed Thursday. Second set of transfers, $4.1 million spread across 7 transactions between January and March 2026 went to accounts in Chen's mother's name. That's not gift giving, that's asset hiding. Timeline proves intent, January 15th, 2026. First transfer to mother's account, $850,000. February 3rd, 2026, Chen files mandatory disclosure lists. Mother is having no financial relationship to marital assets, March 22nd, 2026. Final transfer to mother's account, $650,000. 10 weeks between first transfer and last. Planned systematically. Judge Morrison's conclusion on page 63. Defendant has engaged in persistent, calculated fraud upon this court through false testimony, concealed assets, and exploitation of familial relationships to hide marital property. Not credibility issues. Calculated fraud. That's custody termination and criminal referral language. Subscribe. More documents dropping on this criminal investigation just opened, and there are 8 additional accounts Rodriguez flagged in sealed appendix Friday, 6:47 p.m. Here's what happened. Judge Morrison issued emergency order, no advance notice to Chen's attorneys. Courtroom deputy hand-delivered to Chen's legal team while they were in different hearing. Effective immediately. Defendant's custody terminated pending compliance hearing Wednesday, 9 a.m. Chen's attorney called judge's clerk at 7:02 p.m. demanding emergency stay. Immediate consequences. Court of Appeals denied emergency motion at 8:34 p.m. County sheriff served asset freeze order at Chen's home at 9:17 p.m. U.S. Attorney's Office confirmed receipt of criminal referral at 10:03 p.m. 3 hours and 16 minutes. That's how fast this moved. While everyone focused on custody termination, Morrison simultaneously froze 23 separate accounts across 4 countries and ordered Chen's mother to appear Wednesday to testify about the $4.1 million. Separate exposure. Chen's mother could face charges herself. U.S. Attorney's response. Assigned case to fraud division requested all court documents by Saturday noon. That's documented in federal court docket entry. This isn't family court anymore. Federal prosecutors investigating wire fraud and perjury. Chen's lead attorney, David Garrison, released statement at 10:47 p.m. These orders are draconian overreach based on mischaracterized routine business transactions. Not we're reviewing. Not mathematical errors. Calling judges' findings mischaracterized, directly contradicting sworn testimony. Neural Path Board called emergency session Saturday morning. By Saturday 2 p.m., 3 board members had resigned. Company stock down 34% in after-hours trading, $2.7 billion in market cap gone. This changed everything. Like, if you're seeing what I'm seeing here, judge doesn't terminate custody and freeze international accounts over routine business transactions. Here's what nobody caught. Appendix 4 filed under seal but accidentally included in public docket for 43 minutes Friday before being pulled shows Neural Path itself made payments to Meridian Holdings. Not Chen personally, his company. This wasn't in initial coverage. This is corporate funds potentially being diverted to hide personal assets. The connection, Chen creates Singapore shell company, transfers personal money there. Then his $8 billion company starts paying that same shell company for consulting services. That's not asset hiding anymore. That's potentially corporate fraud. Numbers tell the story. $2.3 million in personal transfers. $6.7 million in corporate payments to same entity. $9 million total moved to shell company Chen controlled. Personal money mixed with corporate money. Why this matters. Not just divorce fraud, potential securities fraud if he's using public company funds. Neural Path has venture capital investors who don't know company paid $6.7 million to CEO's shell company. Forensic accountant Jennifer Rodriguez confirmed the corporate payments in sealed report filed Thursday. Quote, Meridian Holdings has no employees, no office, no evidence of actual services rendered. That's independent verification of shell company status. SEC investigates when corporate funds flow to executive-controlled entities without disclosure, and Chen signed Neural Path's financial certifications in March, stating all related party transactions were disclosed. Corporate payments to his shell company weren't mentioned. This changes the charges Chen faces from divorce fraud to potential securities fraud and self-dealing. Investors didn't know, board didn't know, possibly criminal. How we got here, 18 months ago, wife Elena files for divorce, requests standard financial disclosure. 14 months ago, Chen files declaration claiming $47 million net worth, mostly tied up in Neural Path stock. He says he can't liquidate due to board restrictions. 8 months ago, Elena's attorney hires forensic accountant Rodriguez after finding unexplained $340,000 wire in joint account records. Quote from Rodriguez's initial report, clients' lifestyle expenses exceed declared income by factor of 7, investigating offshore holdings. What happened? Chen amended financial disclosures 3 times each time after Rodriguez found new accounts. Each amendment added previously forgotten assets. Each time, Chen's attorney claimed inadvertent omissions. Each time, Judge Morrison issued warnings but allowed case to proceed until March. Rodriguez found the Singapore transfers with exact timestamps showing movement immediately after discovery requests. Pattern went from suspicious to provable. Morrison's conclusion, 3 amendments might be carelessness. Systematic movement of assets hours after discovery requests is fraud. That's the line Chen crossed. Stay with me. What experts are saying changes this turns out Chen's tactics match pattern federal prosecutors have been tracking. What experts are saying former FBI forensic accountant Michael Torres's 22 years investigating financial fraud, shell company plus 4-hour response time equals consciousness of guilt. Translation, creating offshore entity, then moving money within hours of discovery request proves he knew it was wrong. Family law attorney Sandra Kim handled 300-plus high net worth divorces. Custody termination mid-case is extraordinarily rare without abuse allegations. Keyword extraordinarily. Means Morrison saw egregious fraud, not just financial games. Even defense side divorce attorney Robert Chen, no relation. If those timestamps are accurate, there's no innocent explanation. When defense attorneys can't defend it, the evidence is overwhelming. Former federal prosecutor Sarah Mitchell White Collar Fraud Division, the moment corporate funds mixed with personal shell company that's SEC territory. Translation. This jumped from family court fraud to federal securities investigation. Consensus. Timeline proves intent, not mistake. Corporate payment angle creates SEC exposure. Mother's involvement could mean conspiracy charges. That's professional analysis, not spin. Former U.S. Attorney James Morrison, coincidentally same last name as Judge. I prosecuted asset concealment cases for 12 years, transfers 4 hours after discovery request. That's the opening line of my charging document. Securities attorney Elena Vasquez. If NeuralPath has outside investors and paid $6.7 million to CEO's undisclosed shell company, that's textbook self-dealing. Forensic accountant Dr. Linda Chang. 7 accounts in mother's name while declaring she has no financial relationship. I've seen that pattern in money laundering cases. Family law specialist Judge Harold Washington, retired. I terminated custody maybe 4 times in 30 years on bench, never without abuse or proven flight risk with children. Cross-disciplinary consensus. This isn't normal divorce tactics. This is federal fraud territory. Fair counterpoint. Chen's legal team says these were legitimate business structures created for asset protection, not fraud. Their case? High net worth individuals routinely use offshore entities for tax efficiency and liability protection. Meridian Holdings was created for valid NeuralPath international expansion payments were for actual consulting work. Chen's attorney, David Garrison, correlation between discovery timing and transfers is coincidence, not conspiracy. That's legitimate. What they have. Meridian Holdings has business registration and operating license in Singapore. Other tech CEOs have similar offshore structures. Even forensic accounting expert admits, proving intent versus legitimate planning requires examining totality, not isolated transactions. But Chen's mandatory disclosure form March 18th asked, do you have ownership interest in any foreign entities? He checked no. Meridian Holdings was created March 12th. He owned it when he filed that form. That's not interpretation. That's false statement on sworn court document. Both sides have arguments. Documents say he created the company, moved $2.3 million there, then swore 6 days later it didn't exist. Like, if this breakdown is useful, Wednesday's hearing will determine if Chen gets charged or cuts deal. Why this matters to you if you're going through divorce, or might someday, judges now have roadmap for catching offshore asset hiding using timestamp analysis. Numbers: 650,000 divorces annually in US. Estimated 40% involve some asset concealment. Your settlement? Discovery requests now will include specific timestamp tracking to catch exactly what happened to Chen. The precedent. Next time you're in family court and someone claims they forgot to disclose accounts, this case shows judges can and will use forensic timeline analysis. Example, you're divorcing someone with business interests. You request financial disclosure. 3 days later, you notice unusual wire transfer. Before Chen case, hard to prove connection might get dismissed as speculation. After Chen case, attorney requests timestamp analysis. If transfer happened within hours of your discovery request, judge has precedent to call it fraud. Your attorney now has Morrison's 67-page ruling as template. Who gets hit? Anyone hiding assets in divorce Chen case just made it exponentially harder. Forensic accountants already advertising Chen-style timestamp analysis services. Bottom line, if you've moved money around during divorce proceedings, especially offshore or to relatives, this ruling just made your life much harder. What people are doing: reviewing asset transfers during pending divorces for timeline issues, voluntarily disclosing previously hidden accounts before forensic discovery. Knowledge helps. How Chen responded made it worse. Saturday morning, posted on LinkedIn, didn't run it by attorneys first. Quote, facing unjust persecution from activist judge who has presided over my personal matter. The truth will emerge. Called sitting federal judge activist in public post. Reaction: Judge Morrison added Saturday LinkedIn post to case file as Exhibit M at 2:34 p.m. 3 more NeuralPath board members resigned by 5 p.m. Saturday. 2 major venture capital investors requested emergency board meeting. Elena's attorney Jennifer Wong responded. Sunday, Mr. Chen's characterization of Judge Morrison is as accurate as his financial disclosures. Then Sunday evening, Chen's mother, Helen Chen, filed emergency motion to quash her subpoena for Wednesday. Her attorney's argument: Mrs. Chen is 71 years old, not party to this divorce, and being harassed due to her son's litigation. Judge Morrison's response Monday morning: motion denied. Mrs. Chen accepted $4.1 million in transfers during period when defendant was concealing assets. Her testimony is material. ordered her to appear Wednesday with account statements, not de-escalating. Each public attack on Morrison strengthens the fraud case, shows pattern of refusing accountability, and mother's attempt to avoid testifying signals something to hide. Monday afternoon, U.S. Attorney's Office filed notice they'll have representative at Wednesday's hearing. Federal prosecutors don't attend family court contempt hearings unless they're building criminal case. Chen's LinkedIn post now deleted, but it's Exhibit M in federal court file. Too late. What's coming? Wednesday, July 30th, 9 a.m. Compliance and contempt hearing in Judge Morrison's courtroom. 3 possible outcomes. 1. Chen produces all account records and complies. Morrison reviews, likely still refers to U.S. attorney, possibly restores limited supervised custody. 2. Chen produces partial records or claims inability. Morrison holds him in civil contempt, possible jail until compliance, criminal referral strengthened. 3. Chen doesn't appear, arrest warrant issued, criminal referral becomes priority. Former federal judge Maria Rodriguez says, outcome 2 most likely because Chen's pattern is partial compliance and deflection. Also scheduled Wednesday, July 30th, 9 a.m. Same hearing. Helen Chen testimony about $4.1 million could invoke Fifth Amendment, could cooperate, could claim ignorance. Friday, August 1st, Neural Path Emergency Board meeting to discuss CEO status. Within 30 days, U.S. attorney decision on charges, wire fraud carries 20-year maximum, perjury carries 5 years per count. August 15th, SEC has indicated informal inquiry into related party transactions. Still unknown what's in the 8 additional accounts Rodriguez mentioned in sealed appendix, whether Neural Path Board knew about Meridian Holdings payments, whether other Neural Path executives are involved in offshore structure. The Wednesday hearing determines whether Chen faces just divorce consequences or federal criminal prosecution. If his mother invokes Fifth Amendment, that signal prosecutors are building conspiracy case. If she testifies and contradicts Chen's previous sworn statements, that's perjury charge. If she testifies and corroborates Chen, Rodriguez's forensic evidence still shows the money trail. Chen needs his mother to both testify and somehow explain $4.1 million in transfers as legitimate gifts that she coincidentally never told him about, so he couldn't disclose them. That's not a defense. That's desperation. 43 hours from now. Subscribe! I'll break down what happens Wednesday morning when Chen and his mother face Judge Morrison and whether prosecutors are in courtroom. That's where we are. Marcus Chen, billionaire CEO who claimed $47 million net worth, lost custody of his children, facing federal fraud investigation over $6.4 million in hidden transfers. Surface read, messy divorce with financial games, but the timestamp evidence showing asset movement within 4 hours of discovery requests plus corporate funds to personal shell companies suggests this is systematic fraud, not divorce tactics. Wednesday's hearing determines whether Chen produces evidence or goes to jail for contempt while federal prosecutors build case. His mother's testimony could corroborate or destroy his defense. Stories moving. Subscribe for the breakdown when Wednesday's hearing concludes. I read the document so you don't have to. 67-page emergency ruling, every exhibit, every wire transfer timestamp, every amendment to financial disclosure Judge Morrison documented. The accidentally released sealed appendix showing corporate payments. Rodriguez's forensic reports. The LinkedIn post Chen's attorneys are probably still screaming about. Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific. One way or another, we'll know if this stays family court or becomes federal prosecution. More coming.